All right, get ready. Because today we're going deep into some pretty heavy stuff. Metaphysics.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, Heidegger's What is Metaphysics? You're interested in this whole idea of nothingness, right?
Right.
Well, Heidegger argues that it's a lot more important than just the absence of things.
Yeah,
He actually thinks that science depends on it.
it's true.
It's a real mind bender, so we've got our expert here to help us understand it all.
Yeah, Heidegger really flips our everyday understanding of nothingness on its head.
Right. Yeah.
We tend to think of it as, well, nothing, empty space.
Right?
But Heidegger says it's not just a lack of something. It's actually this fundamental concept that makes it possible for us to understand being,
Okay.
the existence of anything at all.
So how does that even work? How can nothingness help us understand what is?
Heidegger makes this really bold claim. Even science, which is all about investigating what exists, needs this concept of nothingness to do its job. Think of it like this. You can't define what a tree is without also implicitly understanding what it isn't.
Okay.
It's not a rock.
Right.
It's not a cloud.
Yeah,
It's not a house.
I see.
Science depends on making these distinctions,
Yeah.
on drawing boundaries around things to study them.
Right.
And those boundaries,
Yeah.
that separation,
Yeah.
that's where nothingness sneaks in.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see what you mean
Yeah.
to say what something is.
Right.
You also have to know what it's not.
Exactly.
But where does this whole dread thing come in?
Right.
Heidegger keeps talking about that in the text,
Yeah.
and honestly, it kind of freaks me out.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty intense concept,
Yeah.
but think about it this way. Have you ever had that experience of looking up at the night sky and feeling incredibly small
Oh, yeah.
and insignificant
Yeah.
in the face of this vastness of the universe?
Yes.
Almost like you're about to fall into that infinite space.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
It's beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
Exactly. That feeling of groundlessness.
Yeah.
That sense of everything we know and rely on just dissolving into nothing.
Yeah.
That's the kind of dread that Heidegger is talking about. It's not fear of something specific like a spider
Right.
or a scary movie.
Right. Right.
It's a deeper,
Yeah.
more existential feeling that arises when we confront the limits of our understanding, the ultimate unknowability of existence.
So he's saying that this dread actually tells us something important about nothingness.
Yes, Heidegger believes that dread reveals nothingness to us in a way that our everyday thinking just can't.
Oh, yeah.
Dread rips away the curtain of our familiar world,
Huh.
and it forces us to confront the abyss,
Okay.
the void that lies beneath everything.
Right.
And this, he says, is actually a good thing.
Wait, a good thing.
Yeah.
How can confronting the void be good for us?
Heidegger uses this term annihilation to describe what happens when we face nothingness.
Mm.
And it can sound scary.
Yeah.
But it's not about destruction.
Oh, okay.
It's more like clearing the clutter. Think of it like this.
Okay.
Imagine you have a room
Yeah.
that's just overflowing with stuff.
Right.
You can barely move
I see.
to really appreciate the space itself,
Yeah.
to see its potential.
Uh-huh.
You need to get rid of all that clutter.
Okay.
That's what annihilation does.
Okay.
It strips away all of our preconceived notions, our comfortable assumptions about the world,
Yeah.
so we can see being more clearly.
So nothingness is like a reset button for our understanding of the world.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And this reset can be incredibly powerful because it opens us up to new possibilities,
Right.
new ways of seeing things.
But this all seems very abstract.
Right.
How does it actually play out in our everyday lives?
Well, Heidegger would say that we encounter being and nothingness all the time, even in the most mundane activities.
Okay.
Let's take the example of choosing what to wear in the morning.
Okay. How does that involve confronting the void? I'm just trying to find a clean shirt.
Think about it.
Okay.
You have a closet full of clothes,
Yeah.
each representing a different possibility
Yeah.
for how you might present yourself to the world.
Okay.
When you choose one outfit,
Uh-huh.
you're implicitly acknowledging the nothingness, the absence
Right.
of all the outfits you didn't choose.
Right.
You're making a decision,
Yeah.
creating something new out of a field of possibilities.
Okay.
And that act of creation, Heidegger would argue,
Uh-huh.
is deeply intertwined with nothingness.
Wow. So even something as simple as choosing a shirt can be a little existential crisis.
In a way, yes, it might sound strange.
Right.
But Heidegger's point is that these everyday choices,
Yeah.
these small acts of creation,
Yeah.
are actually reflections of a deeper engagement with being and nothingness.
I see.
They're microcosms of how we navigate existence itself.
Okay, that's blowing my mind a little bit. So we've established that nothingness is more than just an empty void.
Right.
It's this powerful concept that shapes our understanding of everything.
Exactly.
But how does all of this connect to freedom?
Oh.
I mean, confronting nothingness sounds a bit scary.
Right.
Not exactly liberating.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it gets to the heart of why Heidegger thinks that nothingness is so important.
Okay.
He believes that true freedom comes from recognizing the groundlessness of existence. The fact that there are no absolute guarantees.
Right.
It's by confronting the abyss,
Yeah.
by acknowledging the limits of our knowledge and control, that we actually become more free.
I'm not sure I follow. How can acknowledging our lack of control make us more free?
Think about it this way. If you're clinging to the illusion of certainty,
Okay.
to fixed beliefs and rigid structures,
Right.
you're actually limiting yourself.
Okay.
You're trapped in a box of your own making.
I see.
But when you confront nothingness, when you accept that there are no absolute answers, you open yourself up to a whole new realm of possibilities.
Oh.
You become free to create your own meaning,
Right.
to define your own values,
Yeah.
to choose your own path.
So it's like nothingness is the blank canvas that allows us to paint our own picture of reality.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so liberating. By embracing the void,
Yeah.
by acknowledging the ultimate unknowability of existence,
Right.
we paradoxically gain the freedom to shape our own lives,
Okay.
to become the authors of our own stories.
This is heavy stuff. I think we need a moment to process all of this.
Yeah.
We've just scratched the surface of Heidegger's nothingness. And it's already clear that it's a concept with profound implications for how we understand ourselves and the world around us.
Definitely.
Stay with us as we delve even deeper into this abyss in part 2.
Absolutely.
All right, we're back and ready to go even deeper into this Heideggerian abyss. Before we went off, we were talking about how confronting nothingness can actually lead to a greater sense of freedom.
Yes, and that freedom is really closely tied to another key concept in Heidegger's work,
Okay.
transcendence.
Okay.
By confronting nothingness, we open ourselves up to the possibility of moving beyond the limitations of our everyday understanding of the world.
You're saying nothingness is like a doorway to a higher level of understanding?
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
We spend a lot of our lives caught up in like the practicalities, the routines, the what of things.
Okay.
We focus on the details,
Right.
the concrete realities of our day-to-day existence.
Yeah.
And that's important, of course.
Right.
We have to deal with those things.
Yeah.
But Heidegger is suggesting that there's another dimension to experience,
So, right.
a deeper level of meaning that we often miss.
Because we're so focused on the surface level, on just getting through the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where nothingness comes in.
Mm-hmm.
When we confront that feeling of groundlessness,
Right.
that sense of everything dissolving into the void,
Yeah.
it shakes us out of our complacency.
Mm-hmm.
It forces us to question our assumptions, the things that we normally take for granted.
It's like nothingness forces us to look beyond the familiar,
Right.
the comfortable,
Yeah.
and confront the bigger questions.
Precisely. And that questioning,
Mm?
that openness to the unknown,
Yeah.
is what Heidegger believes allows us to transcend our limited view of reality. He compares it to an artist staring at a blank canvas.
Okay.
It's that emptiness,
Yeah.
that potential that allows for creation,
Mhm.
for something truly new to emerge.
So by embracing nothingness, we're not like eliminating possibilities.
Right.
We're actually opening ourselves up to an infinite number of them.
That's the paradox.
Wow.
It's in the void,
Okay.
in the absence,
Yeah.
that true potential resides.
That's such a powerful idea, but I have to admit.
It also makes me a little uneasy. I
Right.
mean, letting go of certainty of the things we hold on to for security,
Sure.
it can feel pretty scary.
It can be, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Heidegger would argue that this fear is a necessary part of the process.
Okay.
It's like stepping off of a cliff and trusting that you'll learn to fly on the way down.
Okay. That definitely sounds like a leap of faith.
It is.
Okay.
But the rewards can be immense.
Okay.
Heidegger believes that transcendence, this ability to see beyond our limited perspectives,
Yeah.
is essential for living an authentic and meaningful life.
So how do we actually do this?
Right.
How do we cultivate this ability to transcend,
Yeah.
to embrace nothingness, and let it guide us to something more.
Heidegger doesn't offer a step-by-step guide,
Right.
but he does suggest that it's not something that we can force.
Mm-hmm.
It's about cultivating an attitude of openness,
Okay.
of receptivity.
Uh-huh.
He uses this analogy of a clearing in the woods.
You're walking through a dense forest,
Yeah.
surrounded by trees,
Uh-huh.
and suddenly you come upon this open space.
Right.
You didn't create the clearing.
Okay.
It was already there.
Right.
You simply had to be open to finding it.
So it's not about, like, seeking nothingness intellectually,
Right.
but about allowing it to reveal itself to us.
Exactly. And this revelation can happen in unexpected ways, through moments of stillness,
Okay.
through contemplation of nature,
Right.
through art,
Uh-huh.
even through moments of intense joy or sorrow.
It's almost like nothingness is woven into the fabric of existence.
Right.
Always present, even when we're not consciously aware of it.
And the more we become attuned to this presence, the more we can tap into its potential to liberate our thinking,
Yeah.
to open us to new possibilities.
It's starting to sound less like a terrifying abyss and more like a wellspring of creativity and inspiration.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Okay.
Heidegger believed that nothingness is not something to be feared, but a source of immense power and possibility.
Okay.
It's the ground from which all being springs forth, the blank canvas upon which we can create our own masterpiece.
Okay, so we've talked about how nothingness can lead to freedom and transcendence.
Right.
But how does it connect to this idea of authenticity that Heidegger talks about so much?
Authenticity for Heidegger is about living in accordance with your own deepest truth,
Okay.
your own unique way of being in the world.
Yeah.
And he believes that confronting nothingness is essential for this process.
Because it forces us to confront who we really are.
Exactly.
Without all the masks and distractions.
It's about recognizing the limitations of our fixed perspectives,
Right.
the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are and what's possible.
Okay.
When we confront nothingness, we strip away these layers. We see through the illusions.
Yeah.
And we come face to face with our own essential being.
That sounds pretty intense, but also incredibly liberating. It's like shedding a skin that no longer fits, allowing ourselves to become something new.
That's a great way to put it. And this process of shedding,
Right.
of letting go,
Yeah.
can be challenging.
Right.
It can involve facing difficult truths about ourselves, confronting our fears and insecurities.
Yeah.
But it's through this struggle
Okay.
that we ultimately become more authentic, more fully ourselves.
So it's not about trying to be a certain way,
Right.
but about uncovering who we already are at our core.
Precisely. And that's where the true power of nothingness lies.
Okay.
It's not about nihilism,
Right.
but giving up on meaning. It's about clearing away the clutter,
Yeah.
the distractions,
Uh-huh.
the false selves,
Right.
so that our true essence can shine through.
I'm starting to understand why Heidegger calls authenticity a mode of being.
Right.
It's not a destination, it's a journey.
Exactly.
A continuous process of self-discovery and becoming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And nothingness is the compass that guides us on this journey.
Hmm.
It's the constant reminder that we are finite beings,
Right.
thrown into a world that is ultimately beyond our control.
Yeah.
But within this finitude, within this groundlessness,
Yeah.
lies the potential for infinite creativity and meaning-making.
This is really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
We're starting to see how these seemingly abstract concepts,
Uh-huh.
nothingness, freedom, transcendence, authenticity,
Right.
are all deeply interconnected and
Yeah.
relevant to how we live our lives.
And that's the beauty of Heidegger's work.
Right.
He's not just offering us theoretical concepts.
Yeah.
He's inviting us to engage in a process of self-transformation to confront the ultimate questions of existence and emerge transformed.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, exploring how nothingness can be a source of freedom, transcendence, and authenticity.
Right.
But I'm sure our listeners are wondering, how does this all apply to their lives?
Yeah.
How can they actually put these ideas into practice?
That's a great question. And it's one we'll explore in our final segment.
Okay.
Stay tuned as we delve into the practical implications of Heidegger's thought
Right.
and consider how we can all embrace the power of nothingness to live more authentic and meaningful lives.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Heidegger's What is Metaphysics? We've been talking about some pretty complex ideas. Nothingness, freedom, transcendence, authenticity, and how they all kind of fit together. And now, as promised, we're going to kind of shift gears a bit
Right.
and explore how all of this like abstract philosophy can actually have a real impact on your life.
Absolutely.
Because it's all well and good to talk about nothingness as this philosophical concept,
Yeah.
but what does it actually mean to like confront the void in our everyday lives?
Well, Heidegger believed that our engagement with being and nothingness,
Right.
it isn't confined to just like the realm of abstract thought. It's woven into the fabric of our everyday existence,
Okay.
even in the most like mundane activities.
You mentioned earlier that even choosing what to wear in the morning
Right.
can be seen as like a mini existential crisis.
Exactly.
Can you give us some other examples of how we encounter these big ideas in our daily routines?
Absolutely. Think about making plans for the future.
Okay.
Every time you set a goal,
Yeah.
you're essentially acknowledging a whole range of possibilities that will not come to pass.
Right.
You're choosing one path,
Huh.
one being,
Okay.
out of this vast field of nothingness.
Hmm.
And that choice, Heidegger would argue,
Yeah.
is where freedom and meaning-making reside.
So even something as simple as deciding what to have for dinner or where to go on vacation
right.
is actually like a pretty profound act.
In a way, yes. It's about recognizing that every choice we make
Uh-huh.
is like a microcosm of our engagement with being and nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
And this realization can be incredibly empowering
Okay.
because it reminds us that we're not just these passive recipients of fate,
Right.
but active participants in shaping our own lives.
Hmm. It's like we're constantly creating and recreating ourselves through our choices.
Exactly. And this creative process,
Yeah.
this ongoing dialogue with nothingness,
Mm-hmm.
is essential for living an authentic life.
Speaking of authenticity,
Right.
Heidegger makes a really big deal about that concept.
Yeah.
He seems to think it's like one of the most important things we can strive for.
Absolutely.
But what does it actually mean to live authentically?
For Heidegger, authenticity is about stripping away the inauthentic layers of ourselves,
Okay.
the masks we wear,
Uh-huh.
the roles we play,
Right.
the expectations that we try to live up to.
Okay.
It's about getting in touch with our true selves, the being that lies beneath all of those superficial constructs.
And how does nothingness help us do that?
Well, think back to that feeling of dread that we talked about earlier.
Right.
It's unsettling, right?
Yeah.
It makes us question everything that we thought we knew.
Yeah.
But that's precisely the point.
Okay.
By confronting the void, by acknowledging the groundlessness of our existence,
Yeah.
we break free from the chains of those inauthentic identities.
It's like nothingness cracks open the shell of our ego,
Yeah.
allowing our true selves to emerge.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And this process of like breaking free,
Right.
of shedding those false selves, can be incredibly liberating. It allows us to live with more intention,
Okay.
more purpose,
Right.
more alignment with our deepest values.
So it's not about trying to become someone else.
Exactly.
It's about uncovering who we already are.
Exactly. Authenticity is not a destination.
Right.
It's a journey.
Right.
It's an ongoing process of self-discovery and becoming.
But isn't that like a bit daunting?
It can be.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of like confronting the void,
Right.
shedding all these layers of myself,
Yeah.
it sounds like a lot of work. It can be challenging.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
But it's also incredibly rewarding.
Okay.
Think of it like peeling an onion. You have to remove all those layers
Yeah.
to get to the heart of the matter.
Uh-huh.
And once you do,
Yeah.
you experience a depth of flavor,
Right.
a complexity
Okay.
that you wouldn't have otherwise.
So you're saying that confronting nothingness is kind of like peeling back the layers of our own being
Exactly.
to discover the richness and complexity within.
Exactly. And that's where true meaning and fulfillment lie, not in chasing external goals
Okay.
or trying to conform to societal expectations,
Uh-huh.
but in embracing the fullness of our own unique being.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. Heidegger's ideas can be pretty complex,
Yeah,
but they're also incredibly rewarding to grapple with.
absolutely.
Feel like we've gone on a real journey
Yeah,
from feeling a bit of existential dread
right.
to feeling empowered by the possibilities that nothingness presents.
And that's what Heidegger's all about.
Yeah.
Challenging us to think differently,
Right.
to question our assumptions, to confront the big questions,
Hmm.
and ultimately to live more authentic and meaningful lives.
So as we wrap up this episode,
Yeah.
what's one final provocative thought you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I'd encourage each of you to reflect on the idols in your own life,
Okay.
the beliefs assumptions or distractions
Yeah.
that prevent you from fully confronting the reality of nothingness.
Okay.
What would it mean for you to truly make space for the void,
Right.
to embrace uncertainty and allow yourself to be transformed by the encounter?
That's a powerful challenge, and one that I think we can all benefit from contemplating.
Definitely.
We want to thank you, dear listener, for joining us on this philosophical adventure.
Yes,
We hope you found it as thought-provoking and inspiring as we have.
absolutely.
Remember, the journey of self-discovery is an ongoing one.
Right.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep embracing the infinite possibilities that lie within the abyss of nothingness.